In 1942, the United States government did something they had never done before. They ripped the nickel right out of the nickel, replaced it with silver, and then stamped a giant letter on the back so big you can see it from across the room. They wanted everyone to know, these coins are different. And now, 80 years later, some of those beat-up, ugly, tarnished war nickels are selling for more than a used car. One sold for over $16,000. And the craziest part? There's a fake one, a literal counterfeit that collectors are paying real money for. War nickels have gone absolutely wild. And if you're not checking every single nickel in your pocket change, your coin jar, your junk drawer, you are leaving serious money on the table. Look at this coin. If you pulled this out of a roll, you'd probably toss it right back. It's dark. It's ugly. It looks like it spent 80 years at the bottom of somebody's toolbox. And that's exactly the kind of coin that could make you rich. This is a 1943p war nickel. Over 271 million of these were made. That's the highest mintage of any war nickel. So on the surface, it seems common. It seems like nothing. And for most of them, that's true. But some of these nickels have a secret hiding in plain sight. Look at the date. Look closely at that 3. Underneath the 3, there can be a ghost, a shadow, the faint outline of a number 2 sitting right beneath the 3. That's what collectors call an overdate. The mint took a die that was stamped with 1942 and repunched it with 1943. But the old 2 didn't fully disappear. It's still there, hiding and waiting for someone to notice. And here's what makes this absolutely crazy. You do not need a microscope to find this. You do not need fancy equipment. On a lot of these coins, you can see that ghost 2 with nothing but your bare eyes and a little bit of light. Tilt the coin and let the light catch it. If you see that curve of a 2 lurking under the 3, stop everything. Do not spend that nickel. In June 2008, Heritage Auctions sold a 1943 half-P overdate war nickel for $16,675. And that was a beautiful example graded MS-67 with full steps. But here's the surprising part. Even in circulated condition, the kind of worn pocket change coin people usually ignore, these can sell for $35 to a few $100s. Higher grade circulated examples can push into the thousands. Think about that. A nickel worth 5 cents sitting in someone's change jar that could be worth more than $16,000. All because of a tiny ghost hiding in the date. So here's your homework. Every single 1943p war nickel you find, and there are a lot of them out there, flip it over and confirm the large P mint mark above Monticello. Then flip it back and stare at that date. Tilt it under a light. Look carefully for that hidden 2. If you see it, you may have just found a coin that could pay your rent. Now let's talk about a war nickel that doesn't need an error to be valuable. It just needs to exist. The 1943 D minted in Denver. And here's the number that matters. Only 15,294,000 were made. That's it. That is the lowest mintage of any war nickel in the entire series, and it's not even close. While Philadelphia was producing more than 271 million nickels that year, Denver made barely 15 million. That's almost 18 times fewer coins. When it comes to war nickels, the 1943 D stands out as the scarcest regular issue in the series. Now, in worn condition, the kind you might find in a roll or a jar of old change, a 1943 D is still only worth a few dollars because of its silver content. But that's only part of the story. The moment this coin reaches higher grades, the value jumps dramatically. Coins graded in the mint state range, especially MS-66 or MS-67, can become extremely valuable. There's also something interesting about war nickels that many people don't realize. These coins were made with a silver alloy during World War II. Because of that silver mixture, they often struck with very strong detail. Many of them show sharp design features, especially on the Monticello building on the reverse. Collectors pay special attention to something called full steps. That refers to the clear, sharp steps visible at the base of Monticello. If those steps are complete and well-defined, the coin becomes much more desirable and valuable. So that dark-toned 1943D sitting in a coin collection or an old coin jar might not look impressive at first glance. But if the details are strong and the steps are sharp, it could be worth far more than you expect. Here's a simple trick you can try. Weigh the coin. A genuine war nickel should weigh about 5 grams. That confirms the silver alloy used during the war years. You can also check the reverse side of the coin. War nickels have a large mint mark placed above the Monticello building. If you see a big letter above Monticello and the date reads 1943, you know you're looking at a wartime issue. If that mint mark is a D and the date says 1943, then you're holding the rarest regular war nickel in the entire series. It may not stand out with a dramatic mint error or a flashy doubling effect. The 1943D is quieter than that. But its low mintage makes it one of the most important coins in the war nickel collection, and that's exactly why so many people overlook it. All right, now we're getting into the kind of coin that makes error collectors extremely excited. The 1945 P double die reverse, often called a D-Dar. This is one of the most dramatic double die varieties in the Jefferson nickel series, and the doubling appears on the reverse side of the coin. Take a close look at the back of the coin, especially the lettering around Monticello. Pay attention to the words Monticello, 5 cents, and E pluribus unum. On this error variety, the letters appear doubled. Each one looks like it has a shadow or a second outline sitting right next to it. This doubling happened during the minting process. When the coin die was being created, the design was impressed onto the die more than once, but slightly misaligned. That small misalignment caused every letter and detail on the reverse to appear doubled when the coins were struck. Because of this mistake, a normal 5-cent coin turned into a highly collectible error. If you compare a normal 1945 P nickel with the double die version, the difference becomes clear. A regular coin has clean, single letters. On the double die reverse, the letters appear thicker and show clear separation lines, almost like the design was stamped twice. And collectors are willing to pay serious money for this error. A high-grade example of the 1945 P double die reverse, graded MS66, sold at auction for $14,100. That's an incredible price for a coin that originally had a face value of just 5 cents. Even lower-grade examples can still be quite valuable. A coin graded MS64 has sold for more than $170. Circulated examples with strong visible doubling can still bring solid premiums compared to normal 1945 P nickels. One of the reasons this coin is so exciting for collectors is that the doubling is not extremely subtle. On many examples, the doubling is bold enough to see with the naked eye or with a simple magnifying glass. So whenever you come across a 1945 P war nickel, flip it over and carefully examine the lettering on the reverse. Focus on the words around Monticello and look for strong doubling in the letters. If the text appears thick, doubled, or shows a clear shadow effect, you might be looking at the famous 1945 P double die reverse. And if that doubling is strong and obvious, you could be holding a coin that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars to own. Every revolution has a beginning. And for war nickels, it starts right here. The 1942 P-Type II. This is the coin that started the entire war nickel era. It was the very first 5-cent coin struck with a silver alloy during World War II, created because nickel metal was needed for the war effort. That means this coin is the first nickel in American history that actually contains no nickel in its composition. But there's another historic detail that makes this coin even more important. It was the first United States coin ever issued with a P mint mark representing Philadelphia. Think about that for a moment. From 1792 all the way to 1942, more than 150 years of American coinage passed without Philadelphia placing a mint mark on its coins. If a coin had no mint mark, collectors simply assumed it came from Philadelphia. That was the standard practice for generations. World War II changed that. Because these new nickels contain silver, The government wanted them to be easily identified so they could eventually be removed from circulation and melted down if necessary. To make them stand out, the mint placed a large mint mark above the Monticello building on the reverse side of the coin. That large mint mark was something completely new at the time. In 1942, there were actually two types of nickels produced. Early in the year, the mint struck regular copper nickel nickels known as the Type 1 variety. These coins look like normal Jefferson nickels and do not have the large mint mark above Monticello. Later in the year, the mint switched to the silver alloy and began producing the Type 2 war nickels. These coins can easily be identified by the large mint mark above Monticello. That big letter instantly tells you the coin contains silver. This change in mint mark placement ended up influencing American coinage for decades. After the war, the large mint marks above Monticello were removed, but the idea of placing a P mint mark for Philadelphia eventually became standard practice. Starting in 1980, most U.S. coins began carrying the Philadelphia mint mark regularly, and it all started with the 1942 P Type 2. Even heavily circulated examples often appear dark or toned because of the silver content in the alloy. Many look worn, scratched, or discolored after decades in circulation, but that doesn't take away from their historical importance. In top condition, these coins can be extremely valuable. A pristine example graded MS-68 has sold at auction for $5,950. Even mid-grade examples are popular with collectors because this coin represents the beginning of the wartime silver nickel series and the first appearance of the Philadelphia mint mark. Here's an easy way to identify one. If you find a 1942 nickel, flip it over and look above the Monticello building. If you see a large mint mark above the building, whether it is P, D, or S, you are looking at a wartime silver nickel. If that letter is P and the date reads 1942, then you found the very first silver war nickel ever produced. Some collectors even like to listen to the sound the coin makes when lightly tapped on a hard surface. Silver coins often produce a higher-pitched ringing sound compared to the duller tone of standard copper-nickel coins. That small detail is just another reminder that this coin marks a turning point in American coinage history. The 1942 P-Type 2 isn't just another nickel, it's the coin that changed everything. Okay, buckle up, because this last coin has one of the wildest stories in all of war nickel collecting. What if I told you there is a counterfeit nickel, a fake coin made by a criminal in New Jersey, and collectors today are actually paying real money to own one? The man behind it was named Francis Leroy Henning. In the early 1950s, he came up with a plan that was either incredibly clever or completely reckless, depending on how you look at it. Henning had already served time in prison for counterfeiting $5 bills. After spending 3 years behind bars, he decided that large bills attracted too much attention. So he started thinking about something smaller, something so ordinary that people might never bother to examine it closely. His answer was nickels. Henning rented a building in Ariel, New Jersey, and disguised the operation as a plastic molding company. Inside, he secretly set up equipment to manufacture counterfeit coins. He created dies for several different dates, including 1939, 1944, 1946, 1947, and 1953. He bought nearly $7,000 worth of metal and began producing fake nickels by the thousands. But Henning made one major mistake that eventually exposed the entire operation. He produced 1944 nickels without the large mint mark above Monticello. Every genuine 1944 nickel was struck during the wartime silver period, and all of them carry a large mint mark above the building. That mint mark can be a P, D, or S. Henning's counterfeit coins were made from regular copper-nickel metal and had no large mint mark at all. Either he didn't realize the wartime coins were different, or he simply overlooked the detail. That missing mint mark became the clue that revealed the counterfeit coins. A coin collector in New Jersey named Harmon Rogers eventually noticed a 1944 nickel without the expected mint mark and reported it. Around the same time, a bank teller noticed suspicious deposits of nickels, which raised further questions. The Secret Service began investigating, and Henning soon realized authorities were closing in. In a desperate attempt to destroy the evidence, he began dumping large quantities of his counterfeit nickels into rivers and streams. Thousands of coins were thrown into Cooper Creek in New Jersey and into the Schuylkill River in Pennsylvania. Authorities later used specialized detection equipment to search the waterways and recovered tens of thousands of the coins. Henning was eventually arrested and sentenced to prison again. He received another 3-year sentence and was ordered to pay a $5,000 fine. Ironically, after all the work and risk involved, Henning actually lost money on the entire operation. His expenses exceeded his profits by about $7,000, which would be equivalent to tens of thousands of dollars today. But the strangest twist came years later. Those counterfeit Henning nickels that he tried so hard to destroy eventually became collectible items. Today, collectors seek them out because of their unusual story. They represent a fascinating piece of criminal history within the world of coin collecting. If you ever encounter one, there are a few clues that may help identify it. First, it will be a 1944 nickel with no large mint mark above Monticello. Every genuine wartime nickel from that year has a mint mark in that location. Second, many Henning nickels weigh around 5.4 grams instead of the standard 5.0 grams used for real nickels. Third, some examples show a small defect in the lettering of the word pluribus on the reverse, particularly around the letter R. It is one of the most unusual situations in coin collecting. A counterfeit coin created by a criminal decades ago has become a historical collectible. A man made fake nickels in secret, tried to hide the evidence in rivers, went to prison twice and lost money on the scheme. Yet the very coins he tried to get rid of are now valued by collectors. Stories like this are exactly why war nickels continue to fascinate coin hunters and collectors around the world. 5 coins, 5 stories, 5 reasons to never look at a tarnished old nickel the same way again. A ghost hiding under a date. The rarest mintage nobody talks about. A building that saw double. The coin that changed American history. And a counterfeit that became a collectible. Every single one of these coins is out there right now. In coin rolls. In estate sales. In junk drawers and pickle jars. The question is, are you going to be the one who finds them? If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We hunt for coins that the rest of the world throws away, and we show you exactly how much they're really worth. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever found a war nickel? Did you check the date? Because after watching this video, you will.